Namaste, welcome to today's Love Satsang with one of my core teachings. This topic today is truly something very, very deep and very, very sacred, in my opinion, that we are all at some point in one lifetime facing, and collectively it's coming more and more. And maybe today it is just a glimpse into what is possible or what is ahead of your journey in this lifetime or in another lifetime. Or maybe it is a deep remembrance, a trigger of your remembrance, what you came here for, why you incarnated. Not only to experience, but to embody the divine in human form. This is our topic today, tied to my key topic of soul aligned identity. And we will decipher together what this means. And I share a lot about it, what I contemplated about, and also what my own journey is and was and is continued to be. And this is, yeah, in a way I can say one of the reasons why I'm here. This topic is very dear to my heart, and I invite you to listen closely to the words I share, to the vibration I share, and the original idea, and also, as always, to contemplate your own on this topic, even just if you use the title or the description to gain your own understanding of it, your own insights, because we all bear different codes, we all have a different access point, so to say. And the more we channel here through our vessel, through our being, the more we can anchor that frequency also on this planet. To start with, if you've tuned in my Love Satsangs more often, we're starting with a short introspective alignment. And for that, as always, if you can close your eyes for a moment. To arrive together from whatever was before, whatever is coming in this day today. To really be present here now. Be present in this moment. Be present with yourself. Be present with me, with this transmission. And actually also why I'm doing this is always to invite you to be more aware and attuned to the small moments of life, to the little subtleties of existence. Because this topic also today, soul-aligned identity, return to the divine human, is tied to your ability or capacity to really connect deeply with yourself, the big self, the one and only that breathes through you. And maybe you can, if you have an own way of connecting to your soul already, then I invite you to connect to this soul frequency of yours. And if you haven't yet a technique, then just imagine, as one example, just imagine a white or yellow bright light above your crown as a symbol of your soul. And imagining that with each inhale you breathe in deeper this soul frequency. You don't have to decipher it or logically understand right now. Just know with your intention it is anchoring with each inhale, anchoring soul frequency into your physical form. Straightening your spine to become the channel you are already. And with the exhale, grounding that into your body. Anchoring deeper into soul embodiment. Inviting your soul to be present with your human self. And inviting the divine spark that always runs through you to become more dominant and more present. And maybe you imagine your whole body now is full of light, full of peace, full of wholeness, full of openness to remember, to receive. And with a deep inhale and a deep exhale, you're coming back to this shared space. So, the divine human. What is the divine human? We are always both human and divine. We are this physical form and we are spirit. We are something that cannot be sensed in our physical senses, that can only be sensed by our psychic senses, that can only be my cats in the background, maybe you hear them. That can only be that can only be dropped deeper into you when you tune into the subtle frequencies of existence itself. And the divine human is the human that remembers fully, I am the divine, that has remembered fully, I am source, I'm not separate, I'm one with it. I'm not separate, I'm one with it. And as you know, the last transmissions, some of the last transmissions were a lot about the ego and the void and all this awakening process, which is actually part of becoming aware of your own divinity. So, awakening is kind of like the portal to that journey into divine embodiment. And I'm coming later into the stages a little bit that I deciphered for myself, to have it more structured for my mind to understand it, and also to understand what humanity is going through and how we can use that concept for ourselves to have also compassion with our own journey. Yeah. The divine human is a human that has fully remembered its divinity, and not only remembered it, but embodies it, because the human aspect is always connected with the physical form, with this dimension here on planet Earth, to channel down higher frequencies to the earth plane, to really be a channel. Yeah, some outsource it to channels that just connect to some other entities or have this ability, but we all have this ability. It is just a form of maybe practice or training, and to remember that you are also constantly a channel for the divine, constantly creating, manifesting through you what actually the divine will is. The difference of the human that is in illusion, that still has the wheel closed, and the one that has fully remembered, is that this is a conscious presence in your being, that you feel like, yes, actually what I do, what I think, what I feel, what my purpose is, my actions, all of it is from the divine. The source is the divine, an extension of, or you are the fractal. We can look in both dimensions, either upwards or downwards. You are a fractal of it. You are one aspect of it, and having a very unique expression of the divine. And we are on that path always, when we incarnate, cycle and cycle and cycle. And also, as I said, the oscillation between remembrance and awakening, remembrance and forgetting. The remembrance is forgetting, remembrance, forgetting, remembrance, to come back to your true essence. And that's also always, and again, what I repeat. Our journey is not necessarily what humanity has made out of it. Like, I manifest my dream home, my dream whatever. But if you are on the spiritual journey, and at some point your soul will be on the path of coming back home. I want to come back home. And home, home frequency is the divine, is source. And to be home, not by transcending, not by leaving this physical plane, but by inviting it into your body. That's, in my opinion, what we are collectively invited to do. What we did a little bit in the beginning, to invite the divine into, to really live in us. It's always inside of us. It's just the tiny nuance of being aware of it and using it consciously. Because the more conscious you are of it, the more you feel fulfilled and home in your own self. Yes, you can switch again of externalizing the divine and internalizing it. Yeah, that's kind of like also the game with itself. But it becomes kind of like your nature of walking your divinity. But if you look outside, what we see, people on their phones, people smoking, drinking, whatever, putting in their body, mistreating their body, showing off, wanting validation, all these external stimulances. I'm not judging it. I'm just pointing it out to you so you see in the world where we still are. A lot, at least, yeah, where we still are and what our journey ahead is. And nothing is always, again, also I mentioned that from a divine perspective, nothing is better, nothing is more valid or valuable. All is equally valid and an experience. But if you are at that point of your soul's journey, having the longing, the urge to return home, and that actually also starts with having the longing for deeper connection, for deeper intimacy, for deeper conversations, for your soul tribe, for community, for more love energy, for peace. These are kind of like a more human gateway to the soul's longing of wanting to come home. And the home frequency, to bring it into your own vessel, actually bridges this gap between it is there and I'm here. Bridges the gap between I'm here and it is there, yeah? Sometimes we see it so external from us, so, yeah, somehow also distracted from that it is within us, and that we always have the capacity to reconnect with it through our own body, through our own being. Yes, we can also connect with it through looking at the picture or any symbolism of the divine or God, or however you want to call that what is. But the mastery of self, the mastery of your soul at some point is to remember this divinity inside of you so deeply that there's no distinction, that there's no it is there and I'm here. That the line, the separation falls away and you're fully aware, like, yes, I remember. I'm that actually. I am it. And from a concept, you may understand it. And that's, in a way, easier. But the next step is to really let it sink into your system, into your whole system. To let it become a lived reality, not a concept in your mind. And that I can say to all concepts, once you have understood a concept and maybe can even explain it in your own words to someone else, then the next stage is internalizing, integrating, embodying, transmitting. Yeah, after embodying comes transmitting, so that actually once it's embodied and anchored in yourself, that you become a transmission. And then also others remember. Others remember. You are the divine embodied. You are the divine in form. source walking on feet, so to say. Yes, this is the divine human, and the divine human also is in a way walking with a divine original blueprint, that we can say. When we see it from a soul's architecture or the architecture of our essence, we have kind of a template of humanity, the original template without distortions, without conditionings, without all the dust and dirt and blurring that society somehow ended up in. Without all of it, if we wash that clean, if we have the clean canvas, there's a beautiful divine human blueprint. That was the original design of the human, and that also used to be how we lived. And then that was the full remembrance stage, and then the oscillation to the other spectrum of forgetting distorted this original template. A little bit evolutionary thinking here. And now we are like, somehow pushed, we can sometimes even say pushed or awakened to that truth again. There's an original template of us, and what we are living here is really not what we truly are. It's one way of experience, but it is somehow ending in a way that it is not long-term fulfillment anymore. That is not fulfilling in its completeness. That's why we also, a lot of people, seek, they seek something like, or they have this urge of, I don't know, I feel there's more to life, or there's more to me, there's more to my purpose. This is not it. Especially those cycling in patterns, in habits, in one daily routine. It's like, this cannot be it. I remember something is deeper inside of me. That's the start of go searching, go seeking. That's the trigger point often. And then comes this awakening stage. And part of the awakening is also to bridge the topic from the divine human introduction a little bit to the soul-aligned identity, is to see, to be separate from the divine, we have this mechanism of the ego that has a construct of identity. And identity is always shaping you individually, which is one way of the dual spectrum. This is me, this is you. And can also keep you stuck in some limited form, because any identity you are in is a limited little aspect, just a lens, just one perspective of the whole truth. So when we are in the awakening stage, or when we even before have this trigger of seeking, we question that identity we are currently living, and we maybe come into more self-awareness and self-reflection, journaling or meditation, or doing courses, trainings on spirituality, or any form of tools that we are drawn to understand ourselves better, to actually understand our essence, our blueprint more. Because what we also have to understand is we have this divine template, divine human template, the original template. And on top of that, we can imagine it like this. On top of this original human template lies your individual soul expression template. I hope you can follow me. It's a little bit of a that's how I see how the soul evolves into expression of the uniqueness. Because still also as a soul expression, if you are aligned with your soul, you still have your unique codes and gifts and talents. That's the soul template or soul blueprint, you can say, your essence. But around that, so this is the core, divine human blueprint, soul blueprint or template. And around this oftentimes lie all these false templates, conditioned templates, distorted templates from humanity, from society, from outer sources. And awakening is that unraveling this unbinding, freeing yourself, exploding from these templates that are not truly you, and digging deeper into what you truly are. Digging deeper to find your soul blueprint, first of all, your essence, your unique fingerprint, so to say. And then next stage to return to this divine human blueprint, so that actually your soul blueprint and your divine blueprint at some point merge into one. That's an evolution, and that for some it may be like, oh, okay, I'm here and you're already here talking about this. Stop. I have to make it step by step. And I'm not saying you have to be there or it's wrong to be there. I'm just bringing your awareness to something that's already inside of you. That's already a seed inside of you, and that seed will sprout and grow and blossom and bear fruits whenever your soul is ready. Yeah. So identity in the awakening stage, our identity is questions. We question our identity. And what happens then? And that's what I call stages of identity. We transition through identities automatically, but in the first part of our existence, unless you incarnated already quite evolved and quite aware and quite in remembrance, of course. But for many people, it starts with an identity they have inhabited, so to say, or been conditioned to by their childhood, by their environment. It has been shaped, and they don't question it. And when the awakening comes and they question it, they're like, somehow this is not truly the truth. That's not truly me. And the questioning opens up yourself to research into what is identity shifting, how can I consciously shift identity? Because oftentimes the first identity we are given or conditioned to is very ego-based, is very much in separation, is very much in this is me and this is you. This is unique to me and this is not yours, or jealousy, all separation consciousness of lower frequencies, lower vibrations are usually more tied to the ego-based identity that we first have. When we question and transition to the identity of more conscious identity shifting, we're like, hey, this is actually a character in a way I can design. And maybe you have listened to the last Love Satsang about main character energy. This is, for example, something where you can consciously shift your identity to make yourself your main character role again. So the second identity phase is in a way using identity shifting consciously to shift to the identity you really want. And I feel like most people are in this stage. This is also where a lot of people go into manifestation, conscious manifestation tools, techniques, or like fine-tuning their abilities to manifest something from their mind space into the physical form. But it is still, but sometimes sneaky, the ego to manifest, who says like, I can be everything, I can be anyone. Yeah, it's still a little bit ego flavored, but already a little conscious, because you are aware identity is just a construct of your being and you can journey through it. And also, what I also already shared somewhere, it's a playful way for the soul to experience itself in different characters and even different dimensions, if you see it like that, and to develop different gifts. Any identity that you transition through, unconsciously or consciously, is actually also an invitation and an initiation. An initiation into your next level self, the next evolution of yourself. And what comes then, we're coming back to the divine human shortly, but what comes then is a transition to the soul-aligned identity. I call it soul-aligned identity because you also at some point, once you have played with conscious identity shifting, you come to a point where you're like, somehow, yes, I've explored, I've experienced, I've integrated, but my soul is calling. my soul is like, hey, still any identity is not matching my soul blueprint. And that is when you even more so refine your entire being to match your vibration to your original essence, your soul blueprint. And I personally like to use the tools astrology, human design, and gene keys. That's why I have them combined in one package always. Because these tools helped me a lot and still help me a lot and are kind of what I feel like we should have learned in school. Yeah, to decipher really what is my soul, yeah, in essence, and what is the energetic composition of my being when I'm not in a distorted, somehow blurred perspective. What is my true essence? That comes always back to that. What is my true essence or my soul essence, the soul blueprint? This is the soul aligned identity. It's kind of like an approximation of your identity to your soul. Of course, your soul itself doesn't have an identity, but it incarnated with the blueprint, so your human self can match that frequency more and more. And with that stage, also the ego drops more and more. The ego drops and makes space for the soul, as I always say, to breathe again. And after that stage, we come back to our divine human, because after that stage, once you have aligned to your soul, it's naturally that the soul becomes more translucent, so to say, or your body becomes more open and receptive to divine energy, direct source frequency. And that, of course, also means a lot of purification of your karmas, of your negative thoughts, limiting belief systems, stuck emotions, chakra system, energetically, your kundalini. All of this is interwoven and also already part of the awakening journey. But I want to make you aware that awakening is a portal. It continues. Just that you have like, I'm more than that, is not the finishing line or not the end goal. It continues. Transitioning from identity to identity to identity back to soul. And once that is integrated, you become more open and receptive to the divine itself. It has always been inside of you, but it feels it needs some layers to unpeel until we reach that point again, because that's the whole game the divine plays with itself. I make myself so contracted and so individual and separate that I feel I'm separate from myself, to then unravel and journey back, spiral back to remembrance into what I truly am. The whole, complete cycling. And that last stage is, for me, the divine human. It is not to transcend, as I said, but to embody. Transcendence is upwards movement in a way. Transcendence is leaving everything denser and physical behind and merging back into the light. Embodiment is I'm ascending upwards, connecting to the light, and make it so strong, this connection, that actually I don't have to transcend. I'm so connected, and I open my vessel to receive that divine light inside of me, to receive it and let it run through me, so that my body becomes a vibration of divine frequency. The divine human knows it is a channel, a pure channel. There's no egoistic dreams or wishes or fulfillments. The divine human being knows the divine will is my will. Wisdom, love, and truth run through me without distortion. I'm a channel, and I'm also a point on this planet to anchor that energy. Because actually what original our human race, if we want to call it like this, was also, and still is in a way, is you can say, like a light map over the planet. Each one of us is a grid point, and the more you vibrate in the original frequency of the divine, or even your soul coherence, the more you activate this planet in this frequency, you anchor down that frequency. And actually, the more that happens, the more collectively we anchor heaven on earth, so to say. And that is also, in my opinion, part of 5D consciousness and the new earth. New, it's not really new, it's a return. It's return to what has already been and what we all remember at some point. Some more than others. Some maybe have really dedicated their lifetime or lifetimes for it to happen, to arrive. And some journey on the journey. Yeah, they are not necessarily here for that. But if you're here in this and listen to my words, are in my field, most probably there's something. You are part of this movement. I repeat that also. You are part of that movement if you're listening to this. Your soul wouldn't have guided you here, or your intuition wouldn't have guided you here, or your search engine wouldn't have guided you here if there would not have been a resonance point between you and this transmission. The divine human is already a reality that only has to be remembered. The same as New Earth is already a reality, only has to be remembered. Then we are back to the quantum field where everything already exists. It's just that, it's just that we need to vibrate on that frequency to be a perfect match. And sometimes not only you have to be a perfect match, but a collective group or soul group has to be a perfect match to anchor something in truth. That sometimes may be a harsh truth, but it is at least how I experience it. Sometimes it needs more than you to make a reality manifest, because it needs more energy, it needs more alignment of the same frequencies. It's not you just journeying on your own, it's a collective field, a grid that is interacting. And yeah, in a way, if you really see the earth, our planet, and then like a cobweb, or like the network web around it, light lines around it, each single cross point is a human being. Yeah, it's one concept of seeing it. And being in the divine human frequency, you activate a grid point, you are an active grid point, and activate the lines stemming from you, that in turn connect to someone else and also ignite something. It's like constantly firing energy, so to say, and also not only for the human collective, but also for the planet, because the divine human remembers, I'm part of everything, so I'm interconnected. Whatever I do to earth also is done to myself. Whatever I do to someone else is done to myself. It's the interconnectedness of thinking and using your gifts and talents to contribute to the whole. Contributing, you do already, the more you connect to your own self. And then it comes back to you, to your identity, to align to soul. And I invite you really, because I talk a lot about soul and soul alignment, to sit with that, if you haven't yet, to sit with this terminology of soul alignment, soul connection, first of all, soul alignment, soul coherence. That is part of the awakening, and I feel not enough of people talk about it. Some think like, it's just like, okay, Kundalini rising and somehow getting rid of all my blockages and karma, and then living a high life and manifesting in seconds. If that is your view, open your view to a more expanded view of seeing everything on a soul level. The soul is you. To make, even for me at least by now, because I'm so connected to my soul, for me it is never about this human body me. It is much more about my soul, and inviting that more and more in. Is the same what I just shared with the divine. If you have, the more you know your soul frequency, your essence, the more you can channel it into your body, into your being, and it just makes sense. Yeah, for me, when I sat with, I mean, I've been sitting with it for a long time, and I feel like my whole life was preparing me for that, and also to be able to share that in this way now. And I hope it makes sense in some form for your, at least subconscious or your soul, to understand that awakening or the spiritual journey is not seeking the divine outside or meditating all day or whatever image you have. Expand that. That's my invitation to soul coherence, soul alignment, soul coherence. So maybe to make that more clear, soul connection is first of all like, I'm more than the human body. I have a soul, and the soul is incarnated. So having the awareness actually that you are, this body is not all that you is. Yeah, that also, even if this physical body dies, you continue to exist. And maybe also to have this connection to your soul, that you can speak and channel your soul through your higher self. Soul alignment then is, once you have that connection, to decipher your essence more, to decipher what your purpose is, why you came in this lifetime, maybe past lives, how they influence you, what is your mission, what are your challenges in this life. Basically, self-personal reflections about yourself. Each time you come more closer to your soul essence. And that's soul alignment, aligning what is here to what is there, if you want to see the separation, or more so, aligning your entire system back to what your soul already is, because it has never been lost. It just had been forgotten. It needs to be remembered. And soul coherence then, on a even higher level, you can say. Soul coherence is, once you have aligned to your soul, once you have aligned to your soul, you vibrate in the frequency of your soul. A little bit of vibrating in the original song of your soul. If you see everything in energy and vibration, your soul is a vibrational pattern, in a way, a geometry, even, we can say, if you go into that direction. Yeah, it's a vibrating geometry, resonating, vibrating in some specific essence, sound, if you make it, yeah, visible in a way. And soul coherence is to vibrate in that energy, frequency, vibration of your soul. It's a homecoming to your own soul. Soul coherence. And actually, soul coherence goes even further into being connected with the other soul fragments of your same oversoul. But I don't want to dive into that today. It's just like a little bit for those who are already in this understanding how we descend into form and ascend into divinity. But at some point also, even further upwards, if you see that hierarchically, your oversoul orchestrates different fragments, or your monad, even more higher, orchestrates different souls, so that at some point you even connect with these souls and you interact, you are interconnected. Yeah, so once you heal something, they heal, or telepathically you exchange. Like, there's so many dimensions open, and such a vast field of different, yeah, almost like a different game opens, a different level of the game opens. Yeah, if you are in that understanding, if you're in that understanding. But everything starts with questioning. Everything starts with questioning. And that automatically is triggered. You don't even have to think so much about. You don't even have to think so much about what I share, because it is already something vibrated inside of you. And whenever that is ready to be remembered even more deeply, it will. You are always guided, you're always directed, connected, to return to this divine human blueprint. And this is not a goal in this lifetime necessarily for your soul, but for some it is, because some came here to be exactly that transmission, so that others can remember, because this is actually these souls who remember truly fully and who step into the divine embodiment, or even soul embodiment. What I call a soul embodiment is bringing that soul alignment and soul coherence back down into this physical dimension. So if you are there and that is your soul's path, then you are one of these souls who are maybe the first movers or early risers or volunteers, however you want to call those brave souls, who kind of show the way. And sometimes those souls, I know that from myself as well, because sometimes it's a path that is so internal that a lot of people don't see you. And I want to acknowledge at this point those souls who sit behind closed doors, so to say, or behind the curtain, or do the work without openly going out with it or openly sharing or being more in the background. I know there are a lot of souls who do deep work for the collective without being applauded. So this is your stage, this is your time, I'm applauding for it, because I know this is so necessary. And sometimes on this path it's like, I don't know what my soul thought of this here, but I'm going through it. That's sometimes what you may encounter on your path, where we also come back to the other topics I had, like ego death and void state, dark nights, tower moments, all of it. And then, sometimes it helps to tap into this non-dual state of awareness. That's also a practice, and maybe I have at some point to talk about that as well, like the non-dual awareness of non-judgment, of seeing everything as equally valid and equally divine. And that actually at some point, at least on your soul's journey, if you have journeyed a long time and you're kind of an ancient soul, it's not so much what you manifest for yourself, without neglecting yourself, of course. Your needs are of importance to share your mission, but it is becoming much more of a service for the divine. Because you are the divine, and whatever you do, whatever your actions, your thoughts, your beliefs, and so forth is of the divine. And the more you align back to the original template, the more you surrender, or are sometimes pushed or forced, or the ego is forced to surrender to the divine will and say, like, okay, I trust this will now, even if something is challenging and pushing you really out of your comfort zone, taking you to the next step, that you surrender to it and say, okay, I trust whatever this is now, I'm having to go through it, that at the end of this stage, I will be reborn, or even through this challenge or whatever you are facing, that this is of the highest good for my being, and that it is of the highest good for my soul's evolution. Because the soul, I also already shared that at some point, the soul is not interested in if something feels painful or blissful. The soul is interested in evolution and growth, in experience and evolution. And as a human being, or as a soul incarnated, it's always a little bit of a balancing act of, this is my human that has these needs and is feeling these feelings, emotions, and having these thoughts and maybe fears. And on the other hand, the soul who is fearless, who's bold, who is just also playful and want to make a specific experience. And sometimes the human is invited to surrender to the soul, like, okay, I don't know, it feels freaking painful right now, but I'm surrendering. My soul has a plan. My soul has some kind of plan, and it's just a phase. It is just a phase. A phase that in the roller coaster of life and the duality of this planet will at some point from the low come up again. So that actually in the low, I gain wisdom, I gain momentum, I gain remembrance, because in the low moments of life, oftentimes we have genius remembrance, we have genius insights, yeah, because sometimes we are somehow, yeah, sometimes even caged or channeled into a specific framework where we have to sit with something, sometimes even to the point of the ego wants control and wants to look further and wants an answer, wants a solution right away, where, yeah, we are sometimes kept somewhere without knowing. And in this unknowingness, surrendering is something that is inevitable sometimes to come forward. So surrender is sometimes a threshold to actually open the door to go forward. Anyways, after the down comes an up, to trust that, to trust your soul has a plan. Whatever you are going through right now, your soul has a plan. I sometimes has this as a mantra actually. Like, okay, I have no idea right now why this is happening, but my soul, I trust that my soul has a plan. Yeah. Okay, question. Welcome again, by the way. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate your presence and contribution. So, I've always felt trapped through every stage of my life. Can I still come to purpose of my soul's mission here, or have I failed somehow not by my design? All right. So, what we also have to understand is, and that I mentioned last time even, the soul knows no failure. Failure is a construct of the human mind. And sometimes maybe also a distorted view of what is my purpose. The purpose can be so many things, and our innate purpose is just to exist and be an experience. Yeah, that's always a purpose, and you already always fulfill that purpose. But what you mean, I guess, is the higher purpose of contribution. And sometimes we don't even know that through the challenges we face and through working through these challenges, like for example, we have some form of emotions or fears or whatever. And when we deal with them, when we work through it, or ancestral baggage or karma, when we work through it, this is already a purpose we are contributing to the elevation of consciousness. So even so, in this time quality, the purpose is already to raise your vibration. If you have tools to raise your vibration, this is the way to go. Then you already contribute a lot to the collective. Even though your human may question it, even though your human may say like, I should do something more, I should be more productive, or whatever story comes up, because we were conditioned a lot that only results that are seen outside, that are manifested, are really kind of like the holy grail kind of. But we all know everything comes from energy. So when you work on your energy, on your vibration, if you raise your vibration, if you connect with your essence, if you connect with your truth, with your heart, with love, if you're just going out the world, if you have nothing at all and are in the world and just smile at the world and bless them with love, you're doing so much already. You're doing already so much. And that doesn't cost anything in this dimension. Yeah, because some say, I need this and this money to fulfill my purpose, or this purpose is so heavy. And this is the ego again dragging you down, or the soul even dragging you down into what ifs and what shoulds and what coulds, flipping the focus to what I'm already doing is this and that and this. So step by step, actually also focusing on what already worked, on what already you are proud of yourself of. these tiny moments even of life, what I shared, smiling to someone or helping someone who needs help. Yeah, someone asks direction, you're giving them direction, or that you are here right now also listening to what I share, what I transmit throughout actually almost all, I guess, transmissions is already a contribution, because it becomes more aware in your own internal being, and that becomes more aware, activated in your DNA, we can even say, in your body. So there's no failure, and there's no, even though if we say failure, sometimes we feel worthless. Yeah, there's some form of worthlessness interwoven in it, and what I feel. And then to remember, the divine doesn't judge, the divine doesn't punish, the divine just loves unconditionally. Unconditional love. Just by you being you, just by you being incarnated, the divine loves you unconditionally. That is something we, collectively are invited to learn again, to run this program, no matter if I'm productive today or if I have achieved something today or whatever matrix programs are running on us, that we are loved the way we are, just by being, by vibrating, and raising our vibration is actually, we can even say vibration is our currency and not money. Vibration is our currency, not money. Fear and doubt on that. Yes. I will maybe have a dedicated transmission about fear and doubt and self-worth and this. So if you bear with me, because I feel this brings us too far from our today's topic, but it's a good point, because I feel a lot block from it. So if I can spend the arc to embody the divine human, and that's the ego pattern. Fear and doubt are ego constructs. The soul is bold and courageous. And depending also, of course, what happened in the past, in your past, I mean, in childhood or in past lives, even in your environment, all of this always influences us and how we see ourselves. What we can do then, and that ties a little bit to that fear and doubt thing, is to make our connection with ourselves, with our soul, with the divine, stronger than anything else. Because once you have that connection, nothing can disturb you. You know that you are worthy. You know that you are valuable. You know that you have a dedicated role here. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here, or you would already have been gone again. When you are here, you have a purpose. And you are already living that purpose by just being, vibrating. And the higher purpose will reveal itself on your journey, on your path. And sometimes, yes, maybe there's a comparison going on of, this person is doing this and I would love to do that too. Either it's an invitation, just do it, or it is like, yes, I can acknowledge that, but it is not part of my journey. And by the other one actually living it, because the other one is me, just a reflection mirrored, this part, what I see in the other, is also inside of me. Gratitude. Yeah. And yes, maybe also fear and doubt to live our divine human self is that we may fear to lose material things, to lose family, friends, to lose ourselves. I mean, we cannot lose ourselves. We can only lose an outdated identity, actually. To lose something that we feel valuable. But also, again, that comes back to your own connection. The connection to yourself, the connection to the divine makes you so strong that you are not lacking anything, and you are assured whatever you lose is part of your journey, because what comes next into your life is exactly what your soul needs for further evolution, for further growth. And I know sometimes it's maybe a practice of also detaching from this human life story, and it's really a continued practice to Distance yourself from what's the story of your mind and your humanness, and remember the original design. And the original design is not fear and doubt or self-worth issues. That's not original. That's a fragmentation. That's the illusion. And that is part of the game to break through that, to remember, and to go to the other side. The original divine human blueprint, because the divine is all that is, even if you can. That's maybe an in-between step or an approach, we can say. To say, even fear and doubt are divine, because everything is divine, right? Everything is divine consciousness. It just on this planet has split itself in duality. Fear or courage or love, doubt or certainty. It's just two different extremes of the same spectrum, and the awareness of your consciousness that resides inside of you can journey through all of it, the whole spectrum. And if you're on the spectrum of doubt and fear, you can also flip the script that we had last time of reprogramming yourself. Actually, that's also part of it, reprogramming yourself to the other frequency. Or some see it in a hierarchy. Yeah, the energies, the vibrations, how they are in a hierarchy from low vibration to higher vibration, and the divine. If you see it from another perspective, and sometimes it's a paradox because some say like, oh, it's just high frequency. But if you see it from a non-dualistic view, you can include all of it. That's tantric even. Yeah, non-dual awareness is the tantric perspective of life, the traditional tantra, not neo tantra, of seeing the divine is everything, and it has decided, so to say, if we personify it, to have this dual nature experience and to journey from these identities of separateness, of ego construct, to remembering, I'm actually everything. I'm it. I'm it. And not only to remember, but to embody it. That's also my point today, to embody it. Awakening brings awareness, or the trigger, the trigger for awakening is the questioning. We go through awakening. The awakening is becoming more aware what there is still out there, what we have not been aware of. Ascending in frequency and vibration. And by ascending, actually connecting to our soul alignment, soul embodiment, divine remembrance, divine embodiment, if you have these stages. Thank you so much. Yes. Do I have a useful affirmation? I shared this affirmation of, if we are in some form of dramatic moment of our human life story, it's this mantra of, I don't know what it is right now, and I don't have any solutions or answers, but I trust that my soul has a plan, or that the divine has a plan. I trust my soul, the divine has a plan. I trust I'm always guided and connected. I'm trusting that I'm always guided. I'm always protected. And I don't have to know everything right now. And when I have to know, I will know. That I also had at some transmission that we get the clues on this ascension journey step by step. If you had already everything right now, your human nervous system would be overwhelmed, because what also happens, what I also shared, that our nervous system and our human body system has to adapt to higher frequencies over time. And if it's from there to there, it's like an overwhelm, a short circuit of your body, of your human. Yes. Another affirmation. I feel this already covers a lot, like, my soul has a plan. I'm divinely guided. Everything is divinely orchestrated. Yeah, because everything comes back to this connection. And from my experience, I can say at some point, if you're already have a resonance with the teachings I'm transmitting here, then at some point it becomes more and more natural, and even first of all a curiosity to dive deeper into that and to sit in meditation with yourself in silence and make this intention of connecting with your soul. It is always there. And sometimes it feels, yeah, for me at least, I can share from my experience, sometimes it feels like a warm embrace, like as if everything around me is my soul and embracing my human being. Yeah, sometimes it feels really bringing myself to life, especially when I dance, for example. Like this is my way of like channeling in a different way, but also a way of how my soul likes to experience this physical body. Like how can I move, and how does this, yeah, somehow vibration gets into my body as an expression. Yeah, maybe you have your own way of doing it. So sometimes it's a felt experience inside, and sometimes it's both. It's kind of like encompassing everything, and then sometimes it's above me, yeah, like a light of vibrating, wobbly, yeah, kind of visual that I receive. Sometimes it's like sparks, like the sparks I receive through my higher self and my being. And so it's an exploration. It's an exploration of what you are beyond this form. And at the same time, again, not to transcend, because sometimes we tend to, I want to spend my whole day there because it's very beautiful. This energy is very beautiful. And when we go out and see the words like, oof, density and people with grumpy faces that we, yeah, encounter, but then to bring it down, because then also the more it bring it down into this dimension, the more happy faces I guess we see, or the more conscious forms walk on this planet. And that's what we long for. That's what we long for, and actually also what is the cure, the healing of, yeah, of war, of any separation games that we seek. Yeah, my soul has a plan, and that's actually, yeah, something that I continuously do in my practice, because it has a plan, and it makes its own game with itself. I just reveal the clues for this game step by step in the right moment and divine timing. And that's for the ego sometimes frustrating, that wants to plan ahead, wants to control, has maybe a different idea in mind. And then it's again surrendering. That's a continuous journey, no matter how open and evolved you are, but it needs practice. It needs maybe also discipline. Yeah. So some people may like, I want that too. I want to connect with my soul. I want my soul to be embodied here fully. But it needs discipline. It needs constant, especially in this frequency we are surrounded. If you are the only one doing it, of course you will have interferences at first and distractions, and it will be difficult at first, maybe, to really connect. And then have compassion and patience with yourself. Sometimes it needs time, but at some point it's like, this is actually, I feel I have a glimpse of my soul. And that's very beautiful. It's sometimes touching me to my soul, to my soul yet also, but it's sometimes it touches me so much to tears to connect with my soul and to remember. And sometimes it touches me to tears to see outside how many people have lost this connection to their soul. Yes, exactly. My soul has a plan. I will go for that. That's it. That's it. And then actually, doubt and fear can dissolve, because it's a little bit also, because I remember the mother topic. It's also a little bit of seeing the divine as your divine parents. And even you can make your soul, as I shared, sometimes it's really embracing, my soul is embracing me as a little human, so to say. It's a little bit like this, like having the warmth and the comfort and the sometimes kind of like the shoulder to lean on when no one is actually there. Because this is one, at least in my opinion, also a learning on the spiritual journey, is to not externalize anything, but to find it internally. And once you are reconnected with that divine, because the soul, we can also see the soul is a child of the divine as well, because it's a fractal of the divine essence of source. So either way, soul or divine, it's all the same. And yes, it has a plan, always does. And the human does sometimes not know, does sometimes feel lost, circling, looping. But our openness to it, our willingness to be open to receive answers beyond what we thought would be the answer, or beyond what we thought possible for us, that opens next doors. The openness, the intention, the willingness, the discipline, even the I come back to trust and surrender, actually, to make yourself available to receive as a channel, to be that channel that you are, but consciously. Conscious awareness, being the channel of your soul, which is the fractal of the divine. Whatever works for you. Some may work more with, okay, I connect with the divine directly, with the source. Some more with the soul. But if you want a divine human being embodied, the first step, which is easier in a way, is the soul, because it's the next level of you. The divine is the next level. Yeah. Exactly. All right. I'm concluding with that. Your soul has a plan, and we go for that. Thank you so much for your presence. And yeah, that's beautiful if someone can tap into their soul's presence. And actually, souls, as we know, when the body dies, the soul vibration still vibrates. So once you are connected with your soul, you can also make connection with anyone who once were incarnated. It's a different dimension you communicate. Not here face to face anymore, but vibration. And then something softer touches each other. The vibration touches each other. I cannot even put that in words, but I think you get the message. Not to face, or again here, not to focus outside the external form, but to go beyond that and see the vibration of the soul and to connect with that. And if you connect with your soul and you have the intention to connect with someone else's soul, whether incarnated or not, or in other dimensions, there's a connection. And then once you practice that, you can channel. And then you only have to trust your intuition. Whatever you receive as an answer or channeling or conversation, that's the truth. Because a lot of people have proven, so to say, I can say, to be a channel for those who have passed this dimension. And also the channel for other galaxies and entities. But what comes down, up, again, is all of it. Just fragments of the very same thing. So also me here now talking with you and you listening to me is a self-talk. It's a big self-talk of the divine, of source. And with that, I leave you contemplating for today's topic, soul-aligned identity and divine human, which I will most probably, keep talking about in different aspects, because, like I said, this is one of my main transmissions, my main heart topic, and something I myself also journey through. Otherwise, I couldn't now share it in that way. Believe me, I have never read that in any form. You know, what comes to you, somehow the puzzle pieces being put together bring something into something that has to be shared. So much love and so much bliss to you. Your soul has a plan, and go for that. That's my invitation as well. See you next time.